hot on the heels of last Tuesdayism, this video covers knowledge of the past. Clearly there must be a benevolent creator for me to make these two videos so closely related, one after the other, right? Well, actually, no, because I picked the subjects and I put them in that order. But, well, who's counting? This video covers, as I said, knowledge of the past. The argument that gets thrown around that, well, you weren't there when the universe was created, so how do you know? Well, by that same logic, you could say, how do you know God created it? You weren't there either. Adam and Eve weren't there either. I mean, you didn't have humans when God snapped his fingers and poof, all the stars and the planets were put in space. But let's look at the argument as it stands, not point out the obvious flaws. Well, okay. The argument is basically saying you can't guess what happened in the past because you can't just make bald-faced assumptions and try to pass them off as correct. Yeah, absolutely true. You can't. And that's precisely how science doesn't do things. Looks at the evidence that we have of galaxies moving apart, radioisotope dating, radiocarbon is one of them, but that's only accurate to 45,000 years, I believe. There's other methods. You can look at pretty much all of science, all of geology, all of the universe around us, and you can make a good image of how things most likely occurred. And any scientist will tell you that they are using the Big Bang Theory as a working model because it actually does work, but they won't claim that it's exactly how it happened. We don't know for sure, and that's perfectly fine. But for those who say you don't know anything in the past because you weren't there, you had parents. They had a childhood. They were born. How do you know they were born? You weren't there when they were born, were you? I mean, you came after. Well, so did they, but you appeared afterwards, so you can't know that your parents had a childhood, right? Well, no, you can, because they had to be born somewhere. They had to grow up. They had to meet each other, and they had to have you. If you're using the argument, I wish they'd used protection, but that's just me saying it. So you can actually know things about the past without having been there. So, have a good evening.